Yes, so also welcome from my side to web scraping with Python for beginners. This workshop is technically split in two parts. So just a very theoretical part where we learn to understand the basics to do web scraping. And then the second part, I'll share later some resources where you can practice what we've learned today. So it's not 2 hours like it says here, but it's only the 1 hour workshop. We will learn today how to extract information from web pages with code. And this already explained a bit what web scraping is. Just before we jump into the topic, I think we know the web is full of information and information that might be interesting for us personally, for our projects, or also for on the job to get data from the web. And this is where web scraping comes in very handy. So web scraping basically is a way how we can get structured data from the web. So we get the information from, for example, this web page to turn into a data frame with which we can later work and use the data. So I'm sure that we all had to, or at least I had to do in formal internships, the typical, I don't know, creating lists of something where you went on a web page and you did the copy and paste, or in general, often already did the copy pasting. But if you have to copy paste a lot, you feel like, isn't there a smarter and easier way to do it? And I've done it manually, and now I'm really appreciating that there is such thing like web scraping that we can do with Python. So let's dive into it. So like I'm having all the little Zoom things everywhere, so I'm trying to move it. So basically we are learning now to get from the web page, reading our HTML source to get to a structure data frame. And this is what this workshop is about. And so before we dive into how HTML code is structured, let's just think about, okay, what happens when we visit a website? So we enter a URL, and then we see the result of the web page. So this is here example. If you put in Le Wagon, you land on a landing page and you just see certain information that is meant for you to see. But what is happening in the background is actually that you as a person, you're entering the URL, and with this you are sending a request, HTTP request to a remote server, and then you get a response, an HTML response, and your browser is showing you the web page and the information that you're seeing. And what we are trying today to do is to write a script that does this request for us to get the data that we want. And the tools we are using today is just a browser. Then we'll code in Jupyter Notebook to write and run Python code. And we will be using the Python library called Beautiful Soup, which is the web scraping library for Python. So today we will be talking and looking into this web page, books.toscrape.com. So I will be sharing this. Let me share this link with you already in the chat, so you can follow along. Let me quickly put this here. So you can follow along if you want. Also, short note, you will have access to the slides later, so don't and to the code also, you can focus on listening, but also do your notes where you think it's necessary. So this will be the web page we will be looking at today. It is built for scraping. It's an example page for that. And in general, scraping is always, yeah, maybe it's one note about that. It's sometimes seen, it's like in the gray zone of if it's legal or illegal, but I mean, it's not illegal. So I think there were some cases where they were thinking, is it actually hacking or not? So someone going on our webpage and scraping all the information. So yeah, you can, I mean, especially with this webpage, there won't be any lawsuits, but in general, it's really in the gray zone. And yeah, it's just there was some times where there were some discussions about it, if it's legal or not. Yes, so as I said, when we were thinking about, okay, we are sending a HTTP request to the server and we get it in and the HTML file comes back. HTML is the language of the web. This is why it's super important for us to understand how is this HTML file structured, because in the end we are reading the data in the HTML file when we are just getting data from it. So a little bit about the basic syntax. So we're here in the Women Who Code Python. So maybe some of you are already very familiar if you're also into web dev. But the basic syntax is that you always have tags that define what input is there. So you always have an opening and a closing tag. Not always. There's some tags that don't have a closing tag. And then you have, for example, tags for links, you have tags for images and paragraphs and so on. And you can always spot it when you see, for example, the A tag contains a link. So there are a bunch of different tags. So this is the basic HTML syntax. And then the skeleton, so the structure of the HTML file is always, so in the beginning, you see doc type HTML, then you always have a head in the HTML and a body, and then a closing tag. So we are interested always in for web scraping reasons, especially in the body part, because this in the body is what you actually see on the web page. So this is made for us humans. And then in the head tag, it contains some meta description and title that is especially meant for, it's very important for SEO, for example, for such search engine optimization, but it's not what you actually see. But we will see all this in a second. Yes, then as mentioned, we have different tags. So we have a head tag. So this is in the head. So this is what I just explained. We have title, we have meta descriptions, and so on. This is what is important for SEO, and this is what we are not reading. So this is in the head. And then we have the in the head, and then there are header tags, which are just headline 1, 2, 3, 4. And this is just always good to know that they exist for the structure that you later can read in the HTML file. Then there are paragraph tags, which just contain a paragraph of text. And then division, they can have multiple paragraphs in them. And we also have, there is, for example, also a strong tag to make specific content bold if you want to highlight some content in a paragraph tag. So opening, closing, same here, opening, closing tag. And then there are also, for example, you will find, and we will also see this today in the HTML file of our example web page, you also have unordered list. So for example, you have here list bread, milk, butter. This will be in, for example, bullet points. And then you also have ordered list, which will be, okay, number 1, France, number 2, Uruguay, and number 3, Belgium. And then you also, what I've mentioned, there are link tags we had earlier with the A, but then we also have image tags that, for example, do not have a closing tag that contain images on a web page. Yes, so there are a lot of different tags, and then the skeleton that we talked about, which is just good for the basic understanding. And let's now look into the structure again. So with the how HTML tags are structured. So we have nested elements. Basically, what it's saying is that you nest. Can you say nest? But that you have some tags are nested into others. So this is the nice, so that there's a nice structure. Like you can see here, for example, so div is in article, articles opening there, closing there, so it's within it. And also here you have tags nested within the paragraph tag, for example. So this is, yeah, it helps us, or these levels helps us to understand the relations of the different elements. Another way to look at it for the basic understanding is the tree structure. So not this way, but this way around. So it helps us to understand the hierarchy. So we say we have the HTML file, and then we have the head. So this is what I explained. You do not see on the web page as information, but we're always looking into the body, where you have headers, paragraph, unordered list, anything. And this, yeah, helps us to understand the hierarchy of this HTML file. And then another way, which is pretty similar actually, is that like a, we call it family tree, but like a genealogical tree, where you can also understand the relations. So the grandpa of those tags, and then these are the parents. So this is also helps us just to it's a good way of thinking to understand, okay, how is this file actually structured? And this is now very, very basic, but we'll see it's not always like this easy when we actually look at the code. So now we went through this in very theoretical on the slides. So now let us open the example web page. So yeah, the link is in the chat for everyone. So, and let us inspect this a little bit. Because how you can do this is you do a right click, and then for you it's inspect, in German it's untersuchen. So there's one German vocabulary that you learned now. And then you click here, and then you can already find your way a bit through. You can see, okay, something is happening on the right. And yeah, you have information here. You can also see, okay, what does this web page actually contain? So we say, okay, books to scrape. And you see, okay, it's there are a lot of books listed, and you already see, okay, they have a title, they have a price, they also have a review on it. And yeah, so we are today very interested in getting this data from this page. And if you go here to the right, so what you see here is the HTML file to this web page. And like I said, you see the doc type HTML, and then you see the head. So here you see it's nothing that's on the landing page. It's just like I've mentioned, also very important for you. And then you see the body. So if you go here, you can see, okay, in the body, all information of the web page is located in the body of it. And then you can already just play a bit around, and can also do this. Okay, I'm curious where this information is. So you can click, and you can, okay, see it is in H3. And then you can see, okay, it is in the listed class. And here you can already see, okay, here just all the books listed in this, in those listed elements. And if you open them, you can see, okay, they are all the same. They are all structured the same way, which is already good to know. And this is the very first thing you in general do when you are starting to scrape a web page, is just first really exploring how is it structured, where is the information located that I'm interested in. And then basically how I would start is always being like, okay, I know in the end, let's say we are interested in the information of the book, so the title and the price, like I've mentioned, but we want to know, okay, where is it located? So you can either go directly there and see where it is, but you can also just go from the top to the bottom, which is you see, okay, you want to actually find, it is within, find where it is placed, but you see it is within this page, definitely. You see, okay, it's not here, it's within here. So this div class, but then you want to actually see, okay, this would only be the image of the book, but you want this information where all of the books are in. So it's most likely that it's this section. And that's also where they in the end are located. Here in this one. So yeah, this is just, yeah, you can play around with that. And this is the most important part, to just understand how is it structured and where to find it. So let's get back to the slides. Yeah, so the inspector demo. And now, yeah, a quick HTML syntax reminder is that there are attributes also in elements. So for example, here the attribute value, and attributes can also be class or IDs. And that's just a way how you can attach additional information to the element, which will be very helpful for us when we web scrape, if there are attributes, because they help us to sometimes do some shortcuts. So talking about attributes, which one do we see most often? Like I've said, IDs, classes, yeah, this is what we will see most often. And you will see later also where they are placed and how we will be using them to get quicker to the information that we want. Yeah, so I already said this now, but in general, the purpose is you can apply CSS styles to elements, and it helps you to yeah, to interact with the elements through with JavaScript. But this is another topic, not not my expertise. And then also, like I've said, it makes it just a lot easier to find elements to web scrape them. And yeah, a little reality check. Are HTML files always human readable? Unfortunately, no. So you get very messy, unstructured HTML files, which often also seem like they're not really scrapable, and many pages are also not, you can't scrape. So yeah, it's good if you find a way to. And yeah, so in real life, websites are a mess. It is a soup of elements, and there are like all programming languages have libraries for web scraping or to pass the HTML. And we are using Python today, so that's why here's also the beautiful soup picture. So we're using the library Beautiful Soup, which is just important to know that we will be using this for web scraping in Python. And the motto of Beautiful Soup is, you didn't write that awful page, you just want to get data of it, and it's easy with Python. And they also have a documentation, which I always recommend to look into when you're working with Beautiful Soup to get data from web pages. All right, let's give it a spin. So before we start, let me quickly open my Jupyter notebook. Give me a second. All right, let me open this, get this here. Move the Zoom bar down. All right, so I hope that you can all see my notebook. So as mentioned, we're using the Jupyter notebooks, just a good way for workshops to code in. And now the real fun begins, because now we'll be actually scraping some information from this web page that we just had a look at. So first thing first, as always, we are importing the libraries that we're needing. So we have to import requests, and we have to import beautiful soup. We have to make an HTTP request from the code. So we'll putting down the URL, we will do a request, and then we need a response, and we are using beautiful soup to read the HTML file. So let us quickly run this. Okay, awesome. So now there is an easy way to access a single element on the web page. So there you can just use the tag name as a method. And if there are multiple tags of this tag with the tag name, then you will only get the first one. So this is, for example, let us go back here. Let us see, okay, let us just see the, here, for example, the head has a title. So we can say, scraped.title, and we'll get all books to scrape. So as I mentioned, we are right now in the head tag. This is not on the web page, but the title is what you see up here. So this is just an example of getting one element by tag name. So we see here, we do scrape.title, great, we get the title, but now we don't want the tags with it. So what can we do with Python? We say, okay, we only want the text, but now we have also this and this, and we don't want this, we only want the title. And then we can just do, what do we do if we want to get rid of that? We do .strip, and now we only have the title. So these are things you have to have in mind. Otherwise, sometimes you have what you want, but also kind of not. So yeah, this is how you can get one element from the HTML code file already. So now, like I said, we always have to climb the tree basically if we want to get somewhere. So now it was easy because we just took the title from the web page. But if we, for example, want to have the first title here, we can see, okay, we have it here in this list. We have in the article class, it's an article, there's a class, so an attribute. And then H3 contains the title, and in the title, we have another attribute, and there's the title is located in here. So we somehow have to get here. A little side note, you can already see that here it shows you where you are. So we are in H3 in A tag, we're looking for something. So what we do now is to get the title. We are using the script because this is where the HTML file is read. We say, okay, we are looking for the tag article for H3 and then for A. This is where the title is inside. So let us quickly do this. So we're looking for the title. We'll be, so we'll be saying, okay, we're looking for first link. text. And then, wait, I will just do the same that we have here, so I'm not confusing. Okay, so we have the link underscore text equals, we always do the scrape because this is where where we're reading the HTML. So this we always do just like we did it here. And then we say, okay, we're looking for the H3 and then the A. That's where we were looking at. So H3 dot A. And then let us see what we get. Okay, so now we can see, for example, we did get the title, but also a lot that we did not want to have. So this is always, like I said, the game that we have to do with the this code. So we can say, okay, we want to have the text, and now we have the actual title. But what we can see here now is that we didn't actually get the full title because it says ... for some reason, some maybe UI reasons they didn't put, because it's maybe too long, the full text. But if we go into the HTML file, we can see there is actually an attribute called title, which contains the full title, and we want the full title. So what we can do now is we can say we are looking for the title because it says title. So now we actually get the full title. So sometimes it's good to have a closer look into the HTML script. All right, so let us get back to the slides. Then, yeah, that's what we just did. The text is cut. And that's just always helpful to see if there is an attribute. So now also what we already figured is that there are a lot of, that the books, it's just repeating blocks. So they all have the same structure. We already had a look into that. They all, they are all located in the same place. They are all listed. So we are now not interested to only get one title, but we actually want all titles of the page. So we're looking to find multiple elements. And for this, you can always use the find all. And you can then, it's the same thing. You always climb the tree. And here, for example, we are now looking to get all the titles from the books. So you actually, you do scrape, because we're always looking, this is where we are reading. We say find all that are in the article tag with the class product pod. So if we now look into this, we can see that here, let's say, here we have them all listed. And you can see that they all have the article tag. So it's in this one, but if you open this one, there's also the article tag, and they also have a class called product pod. So they all have the same structure, and they all have the same tag and the same class attribute. So what we can do now is use the find all to find all the titles. So let us just say find all title names. We make this a headline so we know what we're doing. And then we say, okay, items equals scraped, because this is what we always, that's where we're getting all information from. We said we're looking for multiple names, titles. And then we said, okay, they all have the article element, and they all have the class, which was called product underscore pod. So if we run that, we just get some HTML file where you can already see you have all the titles, A Light in the Attic, Tipping the Velvet, but still sometimes this already feels like a success, but now what we want is just the titles. So this is, yeah, so we just got the information in there, but now we have to loop through them. So we say for item in items, we are now looking for the title, which is item dot, and then we saw the title had the H3 tag. And then we know that up here, we can technically take this part. It's in the A tag, and then it's in the class, in the attribute title. And then we say print title, and we see, okay, cool. We have all the titles that we were looking for. So this is how you can use the find all. Let me quickly check if there are questions in the chat. Yeah, we will do the Q&A later. Maybe that's good. So we can have them bundled in the end. Also, I see the time is running. So let me get back to the slides. So this is one way of getting more elements or finding all elements that have the same structure. And then, sometimes what we already said, they have a unique trait. So they have an attribute here, for example, the title. So we can also just, skip this part. But then you can technically just say, okay, find all A where there is the title attribute, where title attribute is true, and then you also loop through them and you have the same. So it's just, a different way, a bit faster if you see that there is actually an attribute or a unique trait. Sometimes it's an ID or something that you can use to do it a bit in a shorter way. So level up. Now we are actually briefly talking about CSS selectors. There are a bunch of them. And it's basically a language for selecting elements, and all browsers and parsers speak it. And there are a lot of CSS selectors, and we will just use it now to get the price of the books because we're interested in that. So the most common selectors are element selectors. So here you can see, okay, scrape.select. So this is the selector. And then we say the div tag. You can use it also for elements to get with a class. So we set, for example, the title had a class. What was the name of the? The title had the here the article had a class product pod. And now if we actually look into the price, it's in here. And then we can see, okay, the class has the price had also a class called price color, which is good. That's why we can use a selector. And then also, like I've mentioned, sometimes there are IDs that you can use. So now let's get to it. So we say, okay, getting all the prices. We quickly do this like this. With the CSS selector. So we say, okay, prices equal scrape.select. We already saw that there is the class for the price, which was product price. So we do scrape.select, and then we just very simply, we say, okay, product dot, I think this is, oh no, it was not product.price. It was, no, here, it's in here, price underscore color. Price underscore color. And then we want to loop through it. So we can say for price in prices, print the price text. Okay, and this is how we are getting all the prices. So you can see here, these are the prices, and now we have them in a list. But here, for example, we have a small problem. So I'm just doing this quickly because just so you're aware of things that can happen. So now this is not a number. You have the pound sign in front of it. So sometimes you have to get rid of this to actually in the end do something with it. So we can say, okay, for price in prices, price equals, so right, we wanted a float, price dot text dot script, and then I have to copy paste a pound sign because I don't know on a German keyboard where that is. We put it inside here, and then we say, okay, print price, and then we get rid of it. So the L script, maybe you're familiar with that, to get rid of the pound sign. And now this should be, let's see. Oops, I mean the price. Yeah, so not what it already is. So now we put in the price, and then we see, okay, it's a float. So we can work with that. So here, just repeating what we did, we used the CSS selector to select the prices using an attribute, the price color. So which was here called the price color in the HTML file to get the price. Yeah, so I'm just always checking the time. Let me see what the slides say. You can, of course, also combine selectors. So you can have, say, element, or you can selector. So you can really just mix them up and play a bit around. So it's actually also a bit fun to see, okay, how does it work? It's not always straightforward. Yeah, so that's the tricky part of web scraping, and the fun part also. Then, like I've mentioned, we are all building this on the beautiful soup library. So there is documentation for it, so you can read the documentation. And also, I have to say that ChatGPT can help a lot. Also, if you are just interested in the data, not in the scraping part, I've tested it yesterday a bit around. So it's also a way too, but I think it's always just good to understand how do the things actually work, and then you can use the tools that help you do it fast. Yeah, so I'm thinking if there's still time or I leave some time for questions maybe, because just in general, from the use case speaking, what would be interesting now is that we actually have the title with the price that belongs to it. So it would be, the next step would be, okay, make it a dictionary, then make it a data frame that you can work with. Maybe you even want other information, for example, the reviews that you want to scrape and have in your dictionary or data frame, so you can actually see, maybe, I don't know, is there a correlation between the review and the price? So these are all fun things to do. I've mentioned that there's also a link where you can do some exercises. So before I share this with you, I quickly want to tell you just because what LiverGore is about, because we use the slides from LiverGore, and then I usually tell what LiverGore is about. And then also the slides and everything, they are from LiverGore. So I just think it's good to just briefly know what LiverGore is about. So LiverGore is a coding bootcamp, and like Soumya mentioned already, I'm an alumni from LiverGore, and they are all over the world. They are basically made to acquire new tech skills. They have locations all over the world, but then they also have the online bootcamp, what I did. They do have a very diverse group of students, so really career shifters, people that are very new, but also people that are just upskilling in tech. So that's pretty cool. And then also they have bootcamps in web dev, data science, data analytics, and also full-time, part-time, which is, yeah, cool, because, yeah, you can make it fit your schedule. And then the ratio is cool from the student to teacher. So it's pretty small groups. You have a lot of peer support during the boot camp. You build a project. And what is especially cool is yet one, the career service, but also the alumni network. So I'm part of the alumni network. And then, I mean, it's always the same. If you yeah, involve yourself, you get something out. So yeah, I just wanted to mention that yeah, we use their slides, and that's what LiverGo does, and that I can recommend LiverGo. And if anyone has questions about LiverGo, feel free to ask me. So yeah, so now I would open up for Q&As and quickly share the link with all of you where you can basically access all that you can see here. So the slides, a video of this workshop, and your challenges. And then I'm open to answer questions. Time is running fast. So let me quickly share the link with you for LiverGo. And yeah, so now, as I said, happy to answer questions. And yeah, if you also have questions about this link, if it's not working, please let me also know. And then there's one last link I want to share. It's just in case you are looking for an accountability partner on Codum. We have we will match very soon again. I also, with my current accountability partner, I'm very happy. But I just wanted to share Codum with you if it might be helpful for some of you that are on the tech learning journey and are looking for a like-minded accountability partner. Yeah, and now there's still a few minutes left for questions, and yeah, happy to answer them.